my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video. I missed last week, so the questions that I'm answering this week are actually from 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry about that. I was feeling a little bit iffy last week. Bit better today, actually. I took a long nap again. I've been sleeping a lot lately. I guess it's the only way to get better. So I'm going to answer your questions, hopefully give you some good answers. The first question comes from Mark Webb, who wrote, the question, you also talked about errors and anomalies in comics that affect the value of certain issues. My question is, are there any examples of second or third printings of an issue that is actually worth more than the first print? Well, actually, I'll give you a reasonably recent hot book that actually is that case. This book was actually hot a long time ago, but because of certain announcements, it has become hot again. The Venom movie is coming up, Venom Last Dance, I believe it's called. And in it, if you watch the trailer, they're showing that there is the appearance of Null. And Null is a major character for anyone that follows the Marvel comics. Null is the character that basically is the god of the symbiotes. And so that connection is huge. How much of a role Null will play in the Venom movie, we don't know. But the speculation around him is huge. When Null first appeared, he actually appeared in a comic, Venom #3. And that was, it's a cool cover with the symbiote and Deadpool kind of falling into it. Looks like, Deadpool, I think it is. Basically, that book has gone, it was a fairly expensive book. However, the second print is actually more valuable. A second or third print. I want to say second print, but maybe the third print actually. And the reason that later printing is more valuable is that it actually has the first cover appearance of Null, and it's him sitting on a throne. It's a fairly valuable book. It goes for about 20 to 50% more than the first printing, so it's one that people want. So definitely one to look for. Okay, so I can't think of any others off the top of my head, to tell you the truth. Son of Crom wrote, I have a couple for you to choose from. Oh, I'll answer both. There's not that many questions this week. First question is, everyone can see that you're a collector of very diverse comics. If you had to collect only one character, one series, which would you choose? Well, I would choose a character. I would probably choose Wonder Woman as a character, and buy all the different tie-ins that she's in. So that'd be like All-Star, and then it would be Wonder Woman, it'd be Sensation Comics, it'd be like a whole bunch of them. Actually, I really like Wonder Woman as a character, and I really do love her covers from the Golden Age, so I'd probably pick up all those. And I've actually got a pretty good Wonder Woman collection going. I have the complete first series, almost complete second series of Wonder Woman, and then I have a fair, a smattering of Sensation Comics, and then I have a pretty good collection of All-Star as well with her. I'd like to get more Comic Cavalcade, which is another series that she's in. But that would be the one I'd pick. Number 2 question: How does your wife feel about you collecting, and your passion for Good Girl and Bondage comics? I hope you feel better and get near 100% soon. Everyone, I'm sure, has you in your thoughts. Thanks. Okay, so not 100% yet, but getting there, hopefully someday. Someday soon. So my wife hates the comics. It is what it is. She doesn't like the comics at all. But she tolerates them, and I think she understands now a little bit more. why I collect comics, and she realizes that it's my stress release, so she's a little bit more tolerant, I guess. But yeah, she's not a big fan. She doesn't even look at them. Yeah, she thinks probably she'd not be too keen on the Good Girl or Bondage covers. She'd probably think I'm crazy. So yeah, not a big fan. She doesn't like the comics. Yeah. I like what I buy. Wrote. Recently acquired Your United States book. Is it a SOTI book, and why is it a SOTI book? If you do, you have it. I actually do. I actually have all the SOTI books except for 3. I'm just 3 away from completing the SOTI collection. But this is Your United States, and it's actually a pretty interesting book. It's basically, gives a little bit of the history of the United States, good, bad, and ugly. And that is what Wortham didn't like about it, because, to quote Wortham, there's a man hanging from a tree, there's a Negro in chains, there's a girl about to be raped and massacred. Is this what you want your children to think about the history of the United States? So basically, he didn't like the fact that they were showing sort of the ugly parts of American history. Now, personally, as a history buff, I don't mind. I like seeing good, bad, and ugly of history, but I don't like the current modern way of seeing history, where they try to assign blame, or they don't understand the context of those good, bad, and ugly parts. So I think it's good that there was a comic that did show that. Wortham was wrong in this way. There's this weird thing about history, like where people are too sensitive about certain topics, and that goes on the left side of the political agenda and on the right side. I think, you got to show warts and all history, and we learn from that. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Well, I believe that. So that's why it was mentioned in the Seduction Innocent. So this, little bit of a history thing, he didn't like that. He kind of wanted things to be Disneyfied in a way, I think, for children. Show them all the positive stuff, let them later grow up, and then they can learn more, But I think he was more interested in just having children's books be a little bit more sanitized, and let children be children first, and then learn about the more horrific things later on. And maybe that's the valid argument, because they don't need to learn about all these horrible stuff at that time. Rape is a little bit intense for young children, so maybe he's right in that. But I personally don't like the idea of removing history, or trying to bury history or hide it. So there's that caveat for me. But yeah, I agree that children shouldn't be exposed to like certain things until they're older and they can understand the context and what it actually means. Because if you think about it, like that was a very common, like it was just the bad things that happened in the past. That was just the way things were in the past. Things were messed up. There's no civilization out there that's pure and innocent. It's just humanity is kind of a messed up creature. So yeah, but it's a cool book. I actually recommend, if you love history like I do, find other SOTI books. They all have this little elements of coolness to them. Okay, Matt Likes Comics wrote, where is your favorite place / website to shop for comics? And who do you trust the most? Well, my favorite is mycomicshop.com, and I do trust them very, very thoroughly. They're just a really well-run company. So I've bought many times from Heritage Auctions, and whenever I get a raw book from Heritage Auctions, I'm always a little skeptical of the grade. I don't know if it's going to be what they say it is. But when I buy from my comic shop, Like, for example, I think this one I just showed is from my comic shop. And you'll see my comic shop will always put like the little grade on the back. This is another good thing about them. Like Heritage will put it like, here's a Heritage slab. Look, they'll do this kind of annoying thing. They put it right on the front. It's like, oh, it's like so annoying. Okay, but one sec here if I can get this to stand. But my comic shop will put it on the back, the label, and you can, see that it's a 3.0. So looking at this is not a 3.0. It is much higher grade. It's probably a 4. I'm looking at this, and I actually, except for the tanning, where it's a little bit, it's the white is not super white of the paper. Looks flawless. I don't even see any ticks even. Like it's really solid. So that's their grading is really, really, really overly harsh, and therefore you can really trust it to be accurate. So I really like them. Their pricing, though, you got to be a little bit careful. Even though I do like them, I'm not trying to be down on them. But sometimes when you buy from my comic shop, there's actually cheap. Like you should always check eBay or other sites first or after, because sometimes you can find certain books cheaper. Just it is what it is. Like you got to shop around. Always shop around before just pulling the trigger on random books. So generally what I'll do is if I find something on my comic shop and I'm not sure about the price, I'll go to eBay, double check to see if there's anything and how the prices vary between eBay and my comic shop. I'll usually give my comic shop a little bit of benefit of the doubt in terms of the grade, but generally, I will shop around. Always be careful when buying things, just because of the saving money. It's just a matter of saving money. My comic shop generally is pretty good about their pricing. I've noticed actually a few times where they really underpriced some books because they were using, I think they would use like something like a Go Collect in order to appraise the books. And sometimes the numbers that they're using are from past sales that happened like 4 years ago. So they really haven't adjusted accordingly. So I've seen them underprice things, and I always kick myself if I miss because some of those things, they go really, really fast when they underprice them. And I always kick myself if I miss them. But one thing you can do if you like my comic shop as much as I do is create a want list on my comic shop where you sort of highlight which books you like, and then they will notify you immediately. The other thing that you should do if you're going to buy from mycomicshop.com, make sure that you're on their mailing list. Because what they'll do is, if you're on their mailing list, they will send you a code each week. I think it's every 2 weeks. I think it's every 2 weeks, where it's a special code and you get a 10% discount. So on certain books, it's not throughout, but it's on certain books. So if you use those kind of methods, you can save a lot of money. Other thing with my comic shop that you can sort of benefit from is if you want to buy some big item on my comic shop, always email them and say, hey, look, are you willing to waive this? They always say there's like a 3% like premium that they add on in order to do the payments. Sometimes they'll waive that, so always ask. And they usually waive it. They've waived it for me for a few times now. So it makes it even more affordable to buy these bigger books where they'll allow you to do like 5-6 month payment plan. And that's how I got the big book up there, the All-Star. I asked if they could waive it, and they allowed me to put payments down, and that's how I got it. So try that. Okay, so I really like the people at my comic shop. They're great company. Next question comes from Eggplant Comics. Do you not report motor vehicle accidents immediately in Canada and wait for the police to arrive? The way it works in Canada, it's kind of weird. when you have an accident, you get the other person's insurance information. You get they get your stuff. You wait for the tow truck or whatever. If there's police that do come, you wait for that sometimes. In the case of my accident, it was the RCMP that arrived and not the city police. So what ended up happening was the RCMP said, well, the city police are not coming. I don't know why, and they didn't have jurisdiction to actually process the accident. So they just told me to go to a vehicle collision center. So that's what I did. I just went there, reported the accident, and that was it. So, and the other person did the same, and yeah, got all sorted out with insurance. So that's how it works in Canada. It's a weird thing. On a similar note, does your wife know what you do with your comics? What to do with your comics if anything ever happens to you? Well, I told her, I actually gave her a number to call if I ever get killed or whatever, something bad happens to me. What I told her to do is to basically call this number and have Heritage Auctions come and basically take the collection and sell it. So her and the children would be taken care of through my collection. So yeah, that's basically what I would do. Next question comes from JC. If there was a third world war, would Canada be neutral? So Canada is actually interesting. Generally, we will follow our allies into war. So if England goes to war, we'll follow them. Sometimes if the US goes to war, not always. Vietnam, and in the case of Iraq, Canada did not follow the US, but often we will follow the US into war as well. We will help defend our allies. We went to Afghanistan, for example. We didn't go to Iraq. But generally, Canada doesn't really remain neutral, which is annoying for us. But yeah, generally we go into war with our allies. So that is it. Those are all the questions for this week. If you have a question you would like to have answered, put it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer it. Yeah, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.